Today I want to talk to you about one free tool. Yes, I said free. I think that tool is so important for investors, especially if you want to take things to the next level and really get a better understanding of your companies or cryptos that you're investing in. And this is exactly a tool that I'm talking about. Yes, it can look a little bit overwhelming, but this is a charting tool and I'm going to show you really a simple way how to use it. I think you can overcomplicate it because it has a lot of abilities and things that it can do. There is of course paid versions, but honestly, you're most likely going to be just fine on the free plan. I'm on the free plan. It's good enough for most people. Obviously, there are a lot of other tutorials on YouTube that really go into charting and all these different complicated things if you do day trading, but for most everyday investors, long-term investors like myself, I think this is a very powerful tool. And in this video, I'm going to show you a couple of little hacks that you can get the most out of this free, amazing platform. And the tool is actually called TradingView. And honestly, that's like the golden standard in finance in regards to charting. I mean, any website that you use, most likely, even on your phone, I use a couple of different apps for stocks, for cryptos, and they often have a basic chart. But then when you click to the advanced chart, you're always going to come to TradingView. That's really the golden standard for all things charting, which is also nice because once you understand how to use it once, you can really use it across so many different platforms. And I really love it. And once again, the fact that it's free for the most part is really incredible. Obviously, this is the website that you have over here. You can start right away to start looking something up. I'll show you in a second how that works. But you can also scroll down and get some market summary overviews, which is really nice, kind of a glimpse, top level overview, how things are happening, the different indices that are out there. Recently, a little bit too much red for my liking, but it is what it is. This is part of investing. You can see some of the top traded stocks over here, how things are developing. So really nice glimpse overview over here. You also have ETS, of course, crypto. So that's really a great start. And of course, if you want to specifically look something up over here, you can just jump in over there, type in the company you want to look up for. Right, but I'll come to looking into companies specifically in a second. Over here at the top, you can also see a couple of other things, which is really interesting. For example, news, right? If you want to keep up to date with news, you can click into overview over here and you see all the various top stories from the day. And it's almost like a news aggregator, which I really like. So you have all the various news, it can be crypto related, macroeconomics, so different things, which is really quite nice. And of course, you can also drill down further if you want to see market news, right? Or world news for a specific country. You could have it as well. For example, if you want to have only crypto news, you can click into that over here. And you have all the crypto related news. You can easily switch it to ETF news. So I quite like it as a nice news aggregator to kind of get a top level overview of what's happening in the markets, right? And then of course you also have a market tab over here. So once again, you can click entire world and you see once again a bird's eye view, as I've shown you before, what is happening and really drill down into the different markets, the highest volume, the most volatile stocks, the stock losers. So really quite like that earnings calendars even, right? So you see which companies are releasing the earnings and then, you can either trade it, right? Because you think it's going to go up or down before the earnings. So that's really interesting to keep on top of what's happening inside the markets. Then once again, over here, you can even drill down into the various markets. If I want to see what's happening in Germany, I can go into there as well, see the DAX, which is kind of the S&P 500 equivalent for Germany. You have all the various indices over there. And then again, the highest stock gainers, losers, what have you. So really, really powerful insights, which once again are free of charge. So I really quite like that. Of course, you also have a community aspect and then products. But once again, let's go back to the TradingView overview, which is the main landing page which you come to. And here, of course, you can look up any stock that you're looking for, right? In this example, let's say we want to see what Microsoft is doing. So I can just type it over here, Microsoft, and you will see it right away. And really nice, you see also where it's listed. So always make sure you choose the right one because you see there's a lot of different Microsofts that I could select from. In many ways, if it's US listed stocks, it's quite straightforward. I'll show you later. For example, you can also look up things like cryptocurrency and then you want to make sure you select the right marketplace for this. So in this case, very simple, it's a NASDAQ. Right, and from here you can do two things. You can either launch the chart, so you go into the more professional chart, so to say, or you can click on See Overview. So it really depends on you. In the beginning, maybe See Overview is enough for you. If you really want to have a top level overview, a rather simple chart, you can change it over here. So it really looks straightforward. You get all the things that you need to know and quite visually presented, I would say, quite nice actually. And yeah, financials over here, you can click around the news, what have you, any ideas, technicals. Of course, some really good insights over there. The forecast as well, if that's something you want to look at. So honestly, once again, the fact that this is free is really quite incredible. Honestly, I haven't really used it that much before. I'm still going to be using that. of course, together with Seeking Alpha, which is something I pay for because there I get really amazing insights, articles, and even more insights around this. But in that way that I use TradingView for free, those two together for me really are more than enough to make educated decisions around my investments. So that's really nice to get a quick overview of what it is. But then when it gets really powerful, and that's I think where most people use TradingView, are the super charts. They call it super charts, so I can click either here on super charts, or I can go at the top over here, products, and click on super charts, and that will bring it up. But in this case, I'm already on Microsoft, so let's bring up Microsoft Xeon super charts, and then it will load up the interface that most people know when they see all these technical analysis online and all these YouTubers predicting where the price is gonna go. Even though, I mean, I might make a separate video on this because I personally think it's absolutely BS, because nobody can predict the future, right? I can explain anything in the past, but I can't predict the future, right? Because just something behaved a certain way doesn't mean it will repeat itself. That's a whole different topic in itself. But obviously, that's a real powerful tool that I can use to kind of see how my investments are doing, right? Especially if I compare it to other. For example, here already you see a number of other investments that I'm comparing Microsoft to. But for the time being, let me remove them and I'll show you how I build it and how I use the tool in itself. Right, so that's the basic Microsoft chart that we've seen. And first of all, you can change the interval over here. If you want to see a daily interval, 15 minutes, 5 minutes, or 1 minute, anything less than 1 minute. It's a paid feature, but once again, if you're not day trading, it really doesn't matter. 1 minute is more than enough. Most of the time, I usually leave it on 15 minutes. Again, I'm a long-term investor. And of course, this is a very basic chart over here with a line chart. I think what's quite attractive. If you're a long-term investor, that might be okay for you. But if you kind of want to trade a little bit the sentiment, then what you can easily do is click over here at the top, select the drop down, and then click on candles. I think those two are the most popular ones. Obviously, you can choose a lot of other ones. And once again, I really want to focus on the most basic functions of TradingView because it has so many features that might be overwhelming. If you want more, watch other videos, but I really want to explain the basics of it. So in this case, I can select candles, and as you can see over here, I favorited it already. If you click that button over here, you can favorite it, and that's why I have it already over here very quickly to select. So all I have to click on that over here, and now I see the candles. So that really makes things also more visual, and I get more information by seeing, when was something bought, when was something sold, and it just gives you more insights. And if I change it, those candles go from 15 minutes to 5 minutes or to 1 minute, so you can see how the chart is changing. That's the candle interval. That's different to the date range. The date range you will actually find down here at the bottom. And you can select, how much of the data you want to look for, right? If I select 1 day, then basically I will now see Microsoft performance in 1 day, which again, for a long-term investor may not be so relevant. You might be interested more into 1 month performance, right? Or year to date, how's it been doing since the beginning of the year for 1 year period, 5 year period, or all. So all is basically since the date of the listing, which was, for them, at least the data here back in 1986 already, so quite a while. So these are really the main things I would say interesting to look for. And why I like candle charts, you can really see, a couple of things. You have 4 additional points that you don't have on a normal bar chart. Over here, you only see, overall direction, but here I can see, for example, the price. If it's green, it means basically the price during that trading session or interval, depending what interval I set, let's say in a day. So during the day, the price started at that level over here and then closed at that level over here. So I can see that there was a price increase over time. And if it's in red, it's the opposite. Basically, it started at this price and it closed at the lower price. That means it went down in price. And when you see these wicks, those little extensions are called wicks. So that's basically during the trading period, that was the highest price in that period. It didn't close at that, but at some stage it was that high. But then obviously it closed at a lower price. And if it's down, it also means during the trading period, it went down by so much. However, it actually closed over here, not that bad. So that's another 4 points to keep in mind that you can then obviously use to make your decisions. Once again, for long-term investors, maybe that won't be that relevant for you. And of course, from here, you can also add a number of different indicators, which is really cool. And you can see I already have a couple of them that are my favorites. I already give you a number of indicators that you can choose from, and you can see how many there are really out there, financial ones, all of them you can use to do your analysis, what have you, even community indicators as well. But sometimes people like, for example, a simple moving average to kind of see, how is the overall trend line, the moving average developing. So if that's something you want to factor in, you can use that as well. And then people, based on a lot of different indicators, make the decisions. But yeah, again, for me, honestly, I don't really use them too much. But if you wanted to, you could definitely use those. And from here, if I wanted to remove it, if I don't want it anymore, I just click on remove and it will be gone. So that's as simple as that. And something I really like is the compare feature. So I can click on the compare symbol over here, click the plus button, and here I can add any other company that I want to compare my chosen stock to, right? In this case, of course, let's say I want to compare to the S&P 500, which makes perfect sense. and I want to see how Microsoft did versus Bitcoin, right? So I can just look up Bitcoin over here. And that's why I said, make sure you select the right index where you compare it to. Obviously Bitcoin versus dollar, you can also compare it to the euro, but most commonly it's compared to the dollar. And then you can select some of those exchanges over here. But often if there is available, I use the index. That's the TradingView index. So here you have the longest trading history, because sometimes those exchanges only start the history whenever it was listed on that particular exchange, but the index, you have the actual start of the asset class itself. So select that. And of course I want to compare it in a line chart. So click on this over here, and then I can really nicely see the percentages and see, for example, over a 1 year period, how Microsoft returned, versus Bitcoin 99%. As a Bitcoin investor myself, I'm of course very happy to see that. And you can add as many as you want to, right? I could also include the S&P 500 over here, and it will be in a different color, and it shows me that. So that charting tool alone for me is super, super powerful to kind of really see how assets to perform over time. And I can go back 5-year period, and there's so many different asset classes that I compare it to. I can even put, let's say, gold over here, right? Include the price of gold, and boom, I would have gold added over here as well. So really, really nice, really powerful. And yeah, you can just play around and see how your different investments compare to each other over time. Of course, from here at the left, you can do a number of things. For example, you could add some trading lines if you wanted to and get all fancy, and show what's happening with the price and so on. But again, I'm not really into this. You could also have some, analysis, Fibonacci retracement lines, and people on YouTube, those day traders selling you those fancy courses, they like to draw these lines and show you if we hit the price resistance, it will bounce off the support line and what have you, all these fancy terms. But once again, ultimately, when you go back to the trades that they made and really see what they said the price will be and what they turned out to, a lot of them actually don't make money. Most of them actually make the money selling you the courses rather than predicting the future. Looking back, I can also tell you, you should have bought Microsoft before 2000. You would have been a rich man. Well, yeah, hindsight is 2020, right? So again, if there's something you want to do, you can play around with. I'm not really into this. So a lot of different drawing tools, analysis tools, of course, even brush tools, right? If you wanted to show something quickly, you can just draw it over here. So that's nice and easy. You could write something. One thing I do use a lot is the measure tool over here. So I can click on measure, and then basically I can just select any point and click on this, and then go to another point where, let's say, I want to imagine if I would have sold over here, how much I would have gained. And I can see right away, in this case, it would have been a growth of 121%. It would have taken 518 days. So it's an easy way to gauge, how much of an increase in a certain period you would have made. So I quite like that. And that's really, for me, at least, quite a powerful tool. And the cool thing is you can also change all your views over here. So you can just have a number of layouts, save them. If you have a preferred view, how you like to view your charts, you can have that easily set up over here. And then we come to the top right over here, which is really quite nice. It's the watch list. So here you can add any kind of assets that you want to look at and categorize them. Even you can see I have here crypto, I have markets, I have stocks, futures, Forex. So in an easy way, with the click of a button, I can see, for example, how is the euro dollar exchange rate. Let me remove Bitcoin over here, and I can see how that is performing, right? I want to see quickly how the S&P 500 is doing. I click on that, boom, I have the data over here. And one thing also I forgot to mention, you can also change the chart. Obviously, we discussed how we change the period down here. If you click at the bottom over here, this is settings, you can open that. And then usually what I prefer is to change it to percentage, because now I can see the actual percentage growth. Because a lot of the stocks, they have some crazy numbers, or especially crypto, it's like 0.0001 to 0.0002, the increase. It's very difficult to compute in your head. But if you have it in percentage, you will only see the percentage gain, which is mostly what I'm interested in, right? And yeah, as I said, from here you can very quickly jump between the different things that you want to watch. And if you want to add anything, just click the plus over here. For example, once again, let me add Microsoft to my watch list. All I have to do, click the plus button over here, and boom, it will be added. You can see it over here, Microsoft. Now it's under Forex. I'm just going to drag it into my stocks, and boom, it will be right there for future references. And the cool thing is, if you scroll down here, you also have a little bit of technical analysis, what I've shown you before. In the basic chart, you will also find those informations over here. Just with a click of a button, you can easily see what's happening and all the other things that I've shown you before. You can also set up alerts over here, of course. You have the hot list. So these are all the trending stocks and things that you want to keep an eye on, for example, as well as screeners, which I think is really quite interesting as well. Click on the screeners. And here you can filter certain stocks or cryptos that you're looking for, right? Which market is it going to be based in, which PE multiple it has, what's the market cap of the stock you're looking for, what is the sector, and then you can filter the stocks that might be relevant and fitting your criteria. So I think it's really, really powerful way to kind of find a stock that you might be interested in, because everybody talks about those big 5 big 10 companies, but then maybe there's some other hidden gems in other countries potentially that fit your investing criteria. So you'll find those over here as well. And once again, we also have the calendar. So I find that quite interesting as well. You can pull it up over here very quickly. And then you see the various things that are happening. For example, today, no economic news are coming, but for example, earnings, I could see which company is going to be having the earnings, the revenues, dividends being paid. So that's interesting. Tomorrow, what will be the news? For example, I can see the economic news, quite different countries coming up. Germans are coming up with their predictions. So I think that's really always interesting to keep an eye once again on the macroeconomic developments out there. And one more cool thing, not many people are actually aware about, that TradingView of course also has an app, but most importantly, they have an amazing widget, which I really like. So you can see here, I have all the stocks, indices and cryptos that are on my watch list that I just shown you on my computer over here on my widget. So I can really, with a glance, see what's happening in the markets. Obviously very easily for me to keep up. And if I wanted to get deeper insights into any particular one, for example, Tesla, all I have to press into Tesla and right away I'm being taken to the Tesla charts and I can do my analysis on that. So honestly, really powerful, that widget alone. And once again, it's free of charge. Then obviously from there, you can do any of the other things that you can do on the computer as well. So really, really love it and definitely check it out. Honestly, really powerful tool. Once again, it's free of charge. So I really recommend you to have a look around, get your account set up. It does make sense to kind of register your free account because otherwise you may not be able to add things to your watch list and so on. So make a free account and then you can start playing around, make the charts how you like them to be, and then you can access it also from the phone. So I think a really, really amazing tool, which honestly, if it would cost some money, I would potentially pay a little bit for it, given that it's free of charge. Really, it's a no-brainer. It's the golden standard in the industry for charting. So definitely, I think it's worthwhile your time to get familiarized with it because you're going to be using it a lot in the future across different brokers, exchanges. So I think it's a powerful tool to learn. It won't take much time. You can use a lot more than I showed you. Obviously, that's very beginner friendly and it's enough for myself. But if you want to use it for even more things for day trading, you can obviously do these things there as well. Next up, check out this video here. As always, thanks a lot for watching. Stay healthy, get wealthy, and I'll see you in the next one. Ciao.